Sometimes I just float away from all Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Mini RPG of the Week. My name is Nualaik, and joining me tonight is, well, you, and not really anyone else. Welcome to the stream. It's me. We're going to be casting, edition 20 of Season 4. Getting very close to Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate, happening over in Compien. Season 4, only a few weeks away, about a month away from wrapping up, and it has felt like no time at all since we began Season 4. We will be using the Season 4 format this week, the new one that was introduced, which has been plenty of fun. It has been great seeing that start to work all the way through this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out this evening as well, because it's an OSTRALEX map, and OSTRALEX has been one of the most, if not, it must be the most prolific mapper for Mini RPG of the Week at the moment, and generally we have had absolute treats whenever we get to see an OSTRALEX map as well, so looking forward to seeing how that goes, absolutely. And of course, those of you who've seen an OSTRALEX map before, maybe even played one in an edition of Mini RPG of the Week, will be well aware that OSTRALEX enjoys one thing in particular, and that is playing a little bit with reactors and seeing what interesting things can be done with them. Chaining them with other tricks a lot of the time as well, some roof hits maybe, some just different things going on. And I expect that is something we will definitely be seeing a little bit of tonight as well. I will also give everyone a heads up and say there's no one on production tonight. It's me and me alone, so I will apologize in advance for the fact that the camera work probably not going to be as good as we're used to here. We've been blessed on Mini RPG of the Week with plenty of excellent producers along the way, most notably Deployer. But without Deployer here, I am struggling on alone. And me struggling on alone means that it probably will, in fact, be a struggle. But hopefully we'll be okay. We'll make it through. Hopefully there will be good competition. I do see the server already starting to fill up nicely, and a lot of the names that we recognize definitely joining as well. So it should be a good time. As I confirm, already live to Zeterate that yes, I am in fact casting tonight. Probably should have checked that message a little bit earlier, but you know what? We're here now. And we'll see how things get on. Only a couple of minutes, maybe less, away from the server kicking off, from seeing this map for the first time, and for the 15-minute warm-up that we will be getting into, of course, with the format that we've been using in Season 4. It is not just a case of show up whenever within that. You do need to complete a run at some point during those 15 minutes in order to qualify for the event, in order to indicate your willingness to actually play this evening. Plenty of players, though, on the server who will be capable of doing that, and who will be doing that once we do get things started here. It will be 20 minutes of TimeAttack today rather than the usual 15, I've just been informed, which does mean that things will be potentially a little bit more tricky to learn on the map. Usually a sign that some of the tricks are a little bit more complex. Possibly the pathfinding is a little bit more interesting than just get from point A to point B the quickest way possible. So we'll wait and see how that does end up playing out, what that actually means for us tonight. Hopefully good things. It's an OSTRALEX map. I have faith. I think if anyone has earned it as a Mini RPG of the Week mapper, it probably has to be OSTRALEX at this point. As we are finishing up with the warm-up, well, the warm-up to the warm-up, and getting ready to head into our actual warm-up and see how things look on week 20 for our map. And we will be getting into game in just a second, desperately stalling, but here we are. Heading on into our map for the week. This is Frozen Cave by OSTRALEX, a mini RPG style map in a frozen cave lit in white and red. And you know what? Seems to be telling the truth from above. We've even got an intro map video. We absolutely love it. Potentially some type platforming. I know that OSTRALEX definitely maps a lot of transitional things in general. And I think that extends to his mini RPG mapping as well. That's kind of pretty. That's kind of a pretty map. As we'll see how things go for our players once we do load on in. Yeah, easy straight finish right at the start there. Just gotta head straight forward from the start line. Surely a PF map. I kind of think that we should sneak a PF map in here while we still have the chance in Season 4. You know, not really tell anyone, and I'm sure it'd take a bit of work to disguise a PF map. But, you know. Here we go. We'll watch the GPS and figure things out. It is a little bit PF, at least right at the start there. But from there, straight on in to that bobsleigh, underwater with reactor down into reactor up and rotating around the wall. That's going to be interesting. I would imagine not something a lot of players have a lot of familiarity with. And of course, safe routes tend to be a given on an OSTRALEX map as well. Interesting roof hit there, if it even is a roof hit. into a backwards turnaround, bounce off the wall. It's going to get spicy. Wood out, bug slide on wood with wet wheels into maintaining grip as well. Very interesting. This is, oh boy. Complicated. Another 180, trying to keep the reactor up so you don't hit a slow-mo that's sitting on the ground there is what that looks like to me. Getting a decent hit and then up onto the wall just to get the angle right down. More wood sections, the grip there very tight, and that's the end of the map. I have seen in the mapper notes that we have, the right at the end of the map there, that final piece of wood, you're coming into it with a little bit of a slide across the ice. God, words are hard. Coming into it with an awkward slide across the ice. And whether or not you get grip on that final piece of wood, which you really want coming around the corner, does depend on the angle that you manage to exit the slide in. So definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. Going to be pretty interesting, I reckon, anyway. As Scandir starts to figure out how things work in this water, the reactor down into reactor up underwater section, very interesting. We'll see how that does actually play out once players get a little bit more experience with it. This roof hit then up to the left, definitely possible to make it up without the hit on the wall, but something that you want to try. Into this backward section, looks okay. Not too difficult for Scandir to pull off the first time of asking, but Scandir is maybe an unfair judge of the difficulty of pulling something off. Ice, bug slide on wood into bug slide on plastic. The transition in the middle then. Equally strange, but again, Scandir pulling it off. We'll go and watch some other players in a little while and see how difficult things are, but for the moment, enjoying watching as Scandir make some mockery of the difficulty of this map, because I'll tell you, it looks difficult. Scandir looking to figure out the backwards route over this. Not quite hitting the slow-mo there. If he did, I believe there's reset blocks right afterwards as well. So not too punishing if you do hit those slow-mo blocks and are at least moving with speed and only hit them at the end. More of a trap if you do end up, I think, respawning or coming in very slow. Heading down towards the end then. And yeah, you need the angle right, not just to get the grip, but also to dodge that hole in the floor. Scandir will finish second fastest, existence minimum. That's easier than I made it. Existence minimum does have the best time in the server at the moment, and that is not a name I recognize at the moment. Why don't we jump on board with existence minimum and see how they're getting on learning the map so far. Getting stuck in this corner. We also saw Scandir get stuck there a little bit in this underwater section. Gonna take some learning for some of the players, for sure. Not only is it kind of a style of driving, this reactor underwater, both down and then into up, that most players won't be used to, I would imagine. Very few players, you have to think, would be used to this. It's also quite narrow in sections. Getting quickly through there, very different from getting safely through there, and both of them going to pose their own challenges. There's an existence minimum showing that while it might be possible to get up here without the hit on the wall on the way up there, definitely preferable to get it so you actually set the car up properly. Of course, capable of turtling on their way up there, and something I'd imagine we'll see during some rounds as well. Not going for the wall hit backwards. Still learning, for sure, and has been overtaken on the leaderboard. Drops currently sitting at the top with a time of 1:18. That's taken over. Scandir's got a 1:14. Makes sense to me. Speed on the jump up here. Possible to get from a standing respawn. So possible to get even with a little bit of a clip earlier there as well. Awkward transitions, and you can definitely see the influence of OSTRALEX's preferred style of mapping, you know, that transitional style. Present. Most definitely present throughout the map as well. As things will be interesting this evening. I'm looking forward to seeing this run at full speed once the players get a little bit more experience under their belt. Solid time in rounds, expected to be a 101-ish. You can see there, top right corner of your screens, the author time of 101.697. Pretty quick. As Ice is learning the end at the moment, and we'll stay on board with Ice then for a full run through the map, hopefully. All about hitting your angle and hitting the finish first time there for sure. Possible, I think, to go wider around, play it safe, and not risk falling in the hole, but obviously slower. Risk reward. Oh, this first section. It's interesting. I do wonder, especially on that reactor up section, as you start to try and gain the height and get as close around that corner as well. We've seen at least one player bump their nose into that wall on the way around the corner, and I do almost wonder if that is the quickest way through that U-turn with the reactor up as you float through. As ice maybe thinks so, is definitely going to hit on the first wall and then touching on the second one, or at least trying to touch on the second one, it looked like there. So using the walls to just gain or lose the height a little bit quicker and just keep the car in place. Normally, you want to be keeping the car out of the walls. It's a very obvious thing, but it'll be interesting with a whole different mode of driving. Those reactors on, floating through the water, if that changes a little bit. And if any of the drivers do figure that out, you'd expect a lot of the drivers at the top to, if not be already aware of the quirks of driving a car with a reactor underwater, at least capable of figuring them out quite quickly. As I do see, we're down now to nearly 8 minutes left, just over 8 minutes left in our registration time. Doesn't feel like we've already been through 12 minutes, and so I'm going to assume that despite whatever messages we may have gotten about a 20-minute warm-up timer, we may have ended up with a 15-minute warm-up timer instead for players to get through. Well, that just means you got to learn a little bit quicker. It's not called a fast learn competition for nothing. Stay on board with ice for one more run. Seem to be starting to get the hang of it a little bit more here. That's clean through that. Definitely not going for the outside wall. Not looking to go for the inside wall either. But a tap on the brakes in the middle there. Maybe just a release off the gas. You can definitely see good control through that section. And this, looking quick from ice. Third fastest to that checkpoint anyone has achieved so far on a run through this map. Losing a little bit of speed there. Definitely seems like a tough section. We haven't really seen anyone get it as cleanly as the GPS did, as we lose track of ice through there. Hang on. Oh. Well. Maybe we'll fix the cameras. It's unclear to me. Who do we want to jump on board with then? Let's see how local admin Black Pulse is getting on. Struggling to get the finish at the moment. Side first into a pole. And, well... Ooh, losing speed there, bugging a little bit on the wood end, struggling to find the angle, maybe approaching from a little bit close, maybe hitting it on the right with the correct angle is the correct play, just in terms of trying to actually maintain speed or be able to accelerate into the finish and not fall into the gap that we saw Black Pulse falling into there. How are other players getting on? Luce is currently the fastest time on the server, a 109.5. Pretty quick. Going for a respawn now, and definitely I think in a position with the fastest time on the server where it seems like Luce is maybe going for some, not glory runs, but definitely looking to start to push the limits, go for clean runs rather than just throwing themselves at the same checkpoint over and over. But we'll figure out. That's pure speculation on my part before we actually see Luce's do some driving. Looking relatively quick through here so far, but a track where for sure things are going to be pretty, well, I think changeable all the way through. That's not ideal. Really need to be going for the 180 through here. I believe, concerning the 180, yeah. Little note here from the mapper, if anyone's paying attention and is on the server at the same time. Concerning the 180, it is a push the direction button and stop accelerating to push to rotate the car easily. Something I'm sure a lot of players know, but equally, if you're kind of new to the game and maybe ice isn't your favorite surface, you haven't played it a huge amount, this trick of actually letting go of the accelerator on ice to turn the car a little bit faster might not be something that's immediately kind of obvious, not instinctive to players. But I think will be necessary, because you really do need to get that car through the 180 before you get into the water. For the end trick, use the jump from the wood and the ice to rotate your car and air brake to get a flat landing and keep the grip. Makes plenty of sense to me. What we are going to do in a second as well is, because I'm interested, wait until Luce's does get to that kind of roof hit to the left section of the map, the quarter pipe that's deceptive because it's not actually a quarter pipe and is in fact a pathway up into a roof hit, and take a closer look at it. I want to see the mechanism, because it's quite hard at full speed to see exactly how things are going. In this section of the track, what do we look like? This is where I remember that I'm very bad at controlling the camera. So what are they actually hitting on their way through here? It's this entire block. I apologize for the camera control. This entire block redirecting you up. So actually quite hard to miss that block. And I think does mean that you want to aim for this pole. We have been told by the mappers that, you know, these poles are here in order to actually give players a little bit of a target that they can line themselves up on the way up the map as well. Which should make things a little bit more interesting. Should at least make it possible to carry out the trick with some kind of consistency. We are seeing, as we watch all the cars come up here, some very different approaches Just interesting to see for a second the different lines that people are playing up, and you can see over to the left of the screen how they're actually working out for them. Quite good for drops there. That's Undler missing, starting very far to the right. Paolo just coming in with absolutely no speed. Undire did end up respawning on that one as well. Comes back, coming with a lot of speed and angled quite far to the left. Hamdaddy really had a lot of speed there. Aura trying not even to go for the roof hit. Pretty interesting. Seeing how people are going. That was really nice by whoever the finished player was. I didn't quite manage to catch the name. I just saw a lot of L's, but exited with a lot of speed. Vortex as well, exiting with a lot of speed on that one. Ryuganji not even able to make it up. Mahalu with a relatively clean landing, and some players definitely are going for this strategy of not even actually going for the roof hit, just jumping straight through. Maybe not necessarily faster. The roof hit, as you can see there from Telne, definitely does potentially give you a lot more velocity to the left, but as Ice then shows us as well, maybe a little bit more risk on going for the roof hit if you don't feel like you have a consistent setup, and just kind of going for a consistent jump without the roof hit is the strat for some players. Oh, Luces, who brought us to this point, will end up making it through there. Because I think this is enough watching this section for a little while. We'll be back here at some point, no doubt. But for now, let's jump on board with someone else. Let's see how Wallagen is getting on. Not well. Well, it's a respawn, and we'll see now a start of a run for Wallagen. Clips again. Going to be going through. Quick look at the times. It should be maybe no surprise to anyone that Scandir tops the leaderboard with only a couple of minutes remaining in our warm-up, but it's not by much. Only a few tenths in it, and that's maybe a little bit surprising given how far we are into the warm-up. Nearly, what, 14, nearly 13 minutes gone, and Scandir has not pulled away by a second. Maybe some competition in it tonight. Maybe not a map that Scandir is particularly feeling in tune with. Panchmala Bole also very high up the leaderboard. Telne sitting in second. Halacia, a name that I don't think I recognize, which is always fun. Uso and Shinex also near the top of the leaderboard. Some big names missing, or at least not as close to the top of the times as we'd maybe expect them to be by this point. I know we have Ice in the server. We have Yannick's in the server. I believe Worker is also in the server at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see how quick some of those guys can get during the competition. Of course, our top tier of players will continue to improve. The learning doesn't stop just because we get to the end of our quote-unquote learning phase. The first few rounds, especially in this double elimination format, the danger zone format, where you do need two kind of bad rounds to be knocked out, means that the top players can maybe afford to experiment a little bit more in early rounds to continue pushing the envelope and finding faster routes through. Into the ending goes Wallagen. Another crash. Not quite going to be clean, but it is not going to be a new PB for them either. Tough. It's a tough map. What else are we seeing? Artis. Been a few weeks since Artis has managed to pick up a win in a mini RPG of the week, but never say never. Could happen at any time, as I'm just going to go digging very quickly, and I apologize for the probable drop in frame rate for the current winners scoreboard. There we go. Gonna pull this away, put it over here, just so I can see what's going on with our winners. Artis sitting on 3 wins all time. A 4th win would absolutely put them in pretty elite company. I think that breaks you into at least tied for the top 6 all time, which very impressive. Being in 3rd puts you tied for, top 7 all time, but you separate yourself a little from the pack. 4 players tied, tied with 3 wins all time at the moment. Of course, if you want to see this leaderboard for yourself and not just take my word for it, head on over to the RPG and Trial Discord. Nightbot can get you a link with no problem, and then head on into the Ultimate FAQ Discord channel there in order to see what's going on. As we come to the end of our warm-up, of our registration period, Telne sits atop the leaderboard. A 102.02 is fast compared to everyone else on the server. 8 tenths clear of Scandir, and well, no one else is even really within a second of Scandir. Makes it very, very impressive indeed. Nobody with the author time leaving registration either. Oh, Scandir, not the start that you'd want, but it will just be 16 players into the danger zone, 8 eliminated in the round after that. Of course, if we end up with lots of players DNFing this first round, which is definitely a possibility, I feel like, on this track, we will end up with a few more players in the danger zone than just those 16. I believe then it will be more than 8 eliminated in the next round. Scandir, nice. Going for the roof hit as well. Very interesting. That doesn't seem like the optimal line. Interesting to see. I mean, Scandir is definitely still having a little bit of trouble with some of the lines here. You know, these ICE 180s, just trying to line them up going over the reactor is definitely tough. This is a map where you can continue to improve all night long, I think, as long as you're still alive. And even then, there should still be plenty of room for improvement if anyone wanted to go and hunt this track afterwards. And of course, there are reactors, so I guess there is always the chance that there is something to break in the track here. No safe finish there really is very interesting. I thought that there was a way to drive down the edge, but we can see that wood ends in a lip. So you kind of do just need to nail it. Which, gonna be some respawns, that finish for sure. And gonna be some players going slow. The safe finish there, I believe, probably is then just double respawning, rather than immediately going for just the single respawning, maintaining the same speed that you missed with the first time. With the associated time loss of double respawning then as well. Low, potentially a risk then of dropping down into our bottom, well, danger zone. Right on the edge of it at the moment, but with plenty of time, still over a minute, a very long knockout timer here in round 1, just to try and make sure as many players as possible get their chance to finish. And it looks like Flow should be safe, although, might be close, might be very close. Petit Jackie has managed to make it through, and Flow will hit the danger zone. That did end up being a very tight battle right at the end for the danger zone. As I guess possible, there might be a little bit of lag on the server at the moment. Can't see much of it going on here, but with, you know, 70 plus players, 80 players in the first round, and lots of reactors around the place as well, and plenty of assets too. We'll see. You'd expect that to improve as time goes on and as we eliminate some of the players from this danger zone. Oh, secret finish up there. Unfortunately, the checkpoint at the bottom here, meaning that one is not particularly useful. Nicky Lafont. Hey, they should make it. Go on, buddy. 6 seconds remain. Get there. Oh, makes it across, and that will be a finish. Deep in the danger zone. Well, I say deep. 78th place. But well within the danger zone. In terms of time. As that will be plenty of players jumping on down to the danger zone. And will be plenty of players getting eliminated as well. We'll see how things get on as we'll try and we'll stay on board with Flow for the moment. And see how things go for Flow, having just about missed out on safety in terms of avoiding the danger zone in the last round. Will be feeling okay, one would imagine, about their ability to stay in this round, especially given how far behind a lot of the other players in the danger zone were then. And so far looking pretty good. Up inside the top 20 is Flow, even further inside the top 20 now, and this is looking good. Should continue to feel pretty comfortable. Sitting inside the top 10? No, has drifted a little further ways down the leaderboard as well. Now, see the issue here. I believe what's happened is a lot of the players who were in the danger zone have just left the server. They have just DNF'd and escaped. So we only have 4 players in the danger zone, and I don't think any of them are getting eliminated this round. So in some ways, a safe round again. Good for them. Happy for you. Now, still not a fast round for some of the players in the danger zone, as Flow and Black Pulse are a long way back. And I think Black Pulse has also potentially left the server, because I can't click on his name. Or we could be getting done by server lag again. But it will be Nicky Lafont, who is doing something. Trying to get to the line. And may stay alive another round. If you do DNF while in the danger zone, I believe that is an elimination. So should definitely be aiming to try and get to the line here. Going for a turnaround rather than maintaining the backwards. And I apologize for the viewing experience. I just genuinely want to know how things go for Nicky here. Will they make it to the line? They're close enough. They surely will at this point. Oh! they're going to land on their wheels. Style points for Nikki towards the line. Just needs to get through. I mean, easier said than done. But a minute to get through this final checkpoint and down this last stretch of road should be plenty. That'll be it. And Nikki should stay alive. As who knows about Black Pulse? Could be anywhere. Computer might have just turned off. Sometimes power outages are a thing. As plenty of players, it looks like, did end up leaving the server, so a weird danger zone in that round. But we will have 16 more players entering the danger zone in this round, and I think we should have shed a lot of the people who have DNF'd, who have left the server, disconnected, whatever happened to them. We hope they're all okay, but now we will be getting on with the real business of racing. Although possibly not on board with Nikki, who has remained stationary at the start line. So we'll say goodbye to Nikki, who has been the main character of sorts for a brief couple of moments, and jump on board with Alcatraz, with a couple of respawns off the start line, now certainly in a very dangerous spot. Mehalau, on the other hand, is well up with the pack, and should be moving up out of the elimination area of the danger zone relatively quickly. In fact, sitting in 35th, topping the danger zone at the moment, all the way up to 27th, and so down we go to a Führer, who is a good player, who is maybe a little bit lower than we might expect in this round, and that's difficult. Not getting the 180. I'm thinking not releasing enough on that one. Is just not quite got the hang of that turnaround, and feels like maybe just a little bit too much accelerating. The timing on the acceleration not ideal, and more respawns coming through means more pain. Needs to maybe nail this bug slide. It's okay, but there's a lot of slowdown there. Catching the penalty snow as well. Needs to take a lot out of it to try and get the uphill, and I think ends up with the DNF. Too many mistakes, too many errors. Not feeling the comeback from that point. Ryuganji is going to clip the checkpoint. Did make it through that checkpoint, though, before respawning. And so is able to just double respawn, carry on forward for the time being. And is just about safe for the moment. Paolo is trying to chase down a player in front. Keep an eye on Toof, who it looked like was dropping a long way back. Paolo looking for a mistake from someone in front, looking for someone to miss. Sheeps Yongan is the last player safe, though, and so Paolo will be eliminated. Could see the player in front in the danger zone finishing off in the distance, but that unfortunately doesn't mean enough. That will be 8 players gone. We did see a bit of a race there. There was, I think, everyone's lives in their own hands in the danger zone right near to the finish line there, except for those players who were still stalled out on the start line. But, you know, they'll be okay. They'll survive. Not really. They are eliminated. As we'll continue on into the evening with Hello Mark in the danger zone this time around. Goliath down there as well. And Tomote. Some interesting players in there. We hope, for Hello Mark's sake, that Mark has in fact figured out how the danger zone works this week. Played in Mini RPG the week last week for the first time, but didn't really seem to understand exactly how the danger zone worked, which is fair enough. If it's a format you've never played before, it is a little bit tough. But he spent a bit of time after being eliminated early last week watching, so hopefully he had a bit of a better idea once watching some of the later rounds of how things play. Slow start there from Mark, who is now trying to battle back against adversity. Will need to pick up the pace in the back half of the map a little bit as plenty of players go flying on past. As there is a lot of changing of places going on in front of us. Mr. Plus is on the cusp of danger at the moment, but not for long, as plenty of players did fall on out of that safe spots through that roof hit. As Mr. Plus continues to accelerate through. Good drift here. Not quite. I was going to say would see them probably safe this round because they'd be putting a lot of distance on the players behind, but that's a loss of speed. Should still be feeling okay. And so we'll head back to Yanka because, yeah, here is where the edge of the danger zone lives at the moment, and it is a long way down the road. That is Toof, who is going to respawn, and so Yanka is up just behind Goliath, who you can see on track in front. And looking for a decent turnaround here. That was dodgy, but it seems to be fine. Yanka goes for the respawn. I'm not sure it was necessary, but Yanka thinks so. And I do like to see players pulling the trigger sooner rather than later if they're worried they're not going to make it, because it does mean less time spent on an attempt that will fail. And that does give Yanka their best chance. Hello Mark just in front all the way up to the safe zones. You can see him just in front there. Yanka's playing it fully safe here. Will that bite them? It won't. Oh, it won't. Finished a second, no more in the end, ahead of the... No, exactly nearly a second in front of the next player behind them. And credit to Yanka for playing it safe on 2 occasions in that round. First of all, with the double respawn, quickly deciding they weren't going to make it. And secondly, just shedding all the speed at the end, not risking a potential final respawn at the end there, because it would have meant their elimination. And Hello Mark survives another round. Did he end up in the danger zone again, though? I think he may have, but also... Well, hang on. We'll see. Is he going to get more time trying to figure out how this works? I think he's pretty close to the bottom there. I get the feeling that he might be well within that orange zone. Yeah. No, he's not. We're down to 8 players. Hello, Mark. Has a safe round. Congrats, Mark. A huge moment. We'll swap on over. 8 players in the danger zone now means 4 eliminations. An interesting danger zone. Existence minimum is here. A player who got to grips with the map very quickly. Had a strong-ish time early on. Was, you know, down to a 115 kind of area very, very quickly. Quicker almost than anyone else on the server. But maybe having some struggles since then, because now they are in the danger zone and they have had a rough start of it here as well. Needs to get pretty clean from here on out in order to survive. Yanka as well, who we saw survive the last round. Not doing so hot right now, and that is not a great jump from minimum, who then has to go very slowly to avoid that pole and to actually make through cleanly. But make through cleanly they do. They are still in the hunt. They are not out of this race just yet. We'll see how things look at the next checkpoint. Good drift, not quite. Losing a lot of speed. Still within that risk of elimination zone. But now, good through that section, gaining places. Legab, the player in front who needs to be hunted down. That's an awkward line. Existence minimum, though, I liked it. I liked it, but existence minimum did not. Went for the double respawn, but we're seeing that from a lot of the players here at the back. Going for the double respawn, getting the guaranteed jump too. I mean, we're seeing it from Hello Mark alongside existence minimum, and it's worked because Legab, who was just in front of existence, has ended up a long way behind instead. And existence just needs to nail this. Doesn't. Oh, things are exciting then. Dax. My German is bad. We saw pass, but it didn't matter because there was enough spaces for them all, except for the survival, who ironically does not survive this round. Legab will have no more gifts in this round either to give. Gift to Legab. That's a very Irish thing. I don't know how much the audience is picking up on that, but they'll be gone. Yanka gone as well after a strong performance at the end of the last round in order to just about stay in, and Baban will be eliminated this round as well. Getting exciting already, though. Getting very exciting indeed. Who do we see dropping into a new danger zone? We did see some players, like Undire, do very well out of that danger zone. Pulling up into a 20th place. Yet to see any truly outrageous finishes from a danger zone player, you know, managing to break a top 5 during a danger zone round. That's only a matter of time, as we are now within our top 60 players. Oof. Existence is back in this danger zone. And that is a tough start, once again. Dropping back a ways. But this water section definitely, I think, really sets the tone for how you need to do for the rest of the track. Players are getting better at it, but there is still plenty of failure. And existence, well, they only just about managed to hold on there and stay in touch. Frekdak. I know my German is bad. Listen, you can shout at me about it afterwards. But right now they are on the cusp of elimination. They do need to stay clean through this water section then. The turnaround is good, but the tree calls. And Frekdak answers that call of nature. Ends up clipping, ends up respawning, and now might be in a little bit of danger. Has dropped a long way down and has clipped walls, has clipped wheels, and is going to just about make the jump over, but has been overtaken by Mini Poos, who is now going to be also in the hunt to stay alive. We did see Vingummy, who has dropped back. This is awkward from Frekdax, who's bouncing off walls and will need to respawn there. Vingummy went for a double respawn and is slowed through that section, but is maybe fast enough. Toof gets overtaken by Vingummy, but they are right at the edge. They're hoping for mistakes in front. There's so many players who are going to be respawning this, and Toof goes a safe way around, but still falls in the hole. I don't think it would have mattered because Vingummy finishes in front ahead and was ultimately about 2.5 seconds off safety, but not exactly what you want to do when going for the safe route, is losing that extra time as well. Still close battles, closer even than it seems there. We did see Vingummy leave the server immediately, but there was about a second off safety there for Vingummy. As we line up a new danger zone, Goliath once again entering. Goliath, a player who has I was going to say, I believe, a mini RPG of the week win to his name, but nope. It appears I am wrong on that, just running through the list of previous winners. And is back in the danger zone for a second time this evening already. As hello Mark, did manage to avoid that danger zone once again. COTD is here too, and a player from Loading Jam joining us. I'm a very solid player as well, so it's going to be a relatively difficult danger zone. I mean, you can see why I thought Goliath maybe had a win to their name. Currently up with the leaders, dropping a couple of places here, and that won't help, but Goliath is looking okay for the moment. I say that, but a lot of the pack very close together. Goliath dropping from 2nd place down to 13th, and very much still within range of 20th at the moment. In fact, has dropped back to 23rd. Cahalan is, though, at risk, is going to make that jump, and that's important. If you lose enough speed that you have to respawn there, you are very much in the mud. But Goliath is now in the elimination area. Choosing to go straight. It's interesting. It's novel. It's worked. Goliath has pulled himself back up into safety for the time being. COTD on the hunt, looking to chase down Jam, who you can see the tail lights of just in front. Are there any failures up in front? Jam has gone in the hole. Is that enough? It is! Oh no, the mud may have been calling, but the call of the hole was even stronger, as COTD will make it through by going the long way round and staying safe. Jam eliminated. Very tough. Very impressive from Higibus as well. Up in 4th place, Ramu59TM. There's an Italian flag in the club tag there as well, so I'm assuming the 59 should probably be in Italian. But I have to admit, I don't know what the Italian for 59 is. So I will stick with English. You could always do French, possibly Irish as well. Cougar and E. 59 in Irish. You don't have to hide it, everyone. I know you're impressed. Yeah, I speak a dead language. I don't remember what it is in Latin. I did used to know a bit more Latin than I do these days, but I think that'd be the really impressive one to pull out, and possibly would give me an advantage in trying to figure out what 59 is in Italian. But probably not. Mark is back in the danger zone once again, and once again, like the previous time we saw Mark in the danger zone, appears not to have had a great start. Scandir's in this danger zone. Hang on. Oh dear. This is a very stacked danger zone all of a sudden. Scandir, Tomote, Tommy, Jozo. Things are about to get very difficult for some of the players at the bottom of this danger zone, as Tomote will find himself in trouble, having to take the safe route up here. Little side passage that we haven't seen a huge amount of from, with a lot of players we followed on board with. Whether that's because they didn't know of it or because they chose not to use it, we may never know. Yannick is having a rough time of it in this round, but he's not in the danger zone, and so who cares? Scandir is doing Scandir things and racing off into the distance, but Jozo is in 3rd place as well, and Tommy is not far behind either, meaning that there's really only kind of one safe place up for grabs at the moment in this danger zone. And at the moment, I was going to say it sits with Mehelo, but it is no longer with Mehelo, who is desperately trying to catch up, it looks like. But I think Nicolig is just going to get to the finish safely and claim that last spot. With 49 players remaining, this danger zone required a 13th to stay alive. And that is, well, that's scary. As meanwhile, nice times being shouted out, and it is a new world record, a new best time for Telne. A 101.5 is blisteringly fast, and I believe the first author time that we have as well, assuming Telne did not have the author time before this round. And so we are impressed. But there you go. Mehelo, Slither, Tomote, and Hello Mark will be eliminated in this round. And again, it has to be said, this feels a little bit tough, with Scandir in 2nd, Jozo in 4th, Tommy in 11th, and Nicolig in 13th. Like, Mehelo in particular, you have to be feeling a little bit hard done by. Top half of all players remaining in the server, but still eliminated. That's how the danger zone works. That's how it goes. Existence will return to the danger zone for a 3rd time, alongside Undire and COTD, who both make their 2nd appearance tonight in the danger zone. Joining them there, Yannick's Yog drops. Oh dear. I don't want to say equally as stacked as last round, but we'll just say if we saw similar results as last round, we won't be that surprised. Oh dear. Shadok Alex having a tough go of it here at the start, but has recovered well and will make it through the rest of the water cleanly enough to be feeling okay about staying in the hunt. Just going for the safe route. Very interesting. Getting decent grip out of the icy wheels then on the way through. Continuing on the safe routes. Shadok Alex has a plan, and that is to stay safe, and it is working so far. Just in front of Yogg. That's awkward. It's bouncy, and it means poor grip through that section. Over the top, bouncing through, and that'll be a respawn. All of a sudden, not feeling so hot about Shadok Alex's chances. Yogg has made his way through. Pash has made their way through as well, and Yogg will be overtaken by Pash in a race for what feels like the remaining safe spot. Just about Yogg. Was going potentially for the full 360 there. We've seen that maybe from him before. Pash has to respawn as well, though. Yogg should be through, landing on his back and flipping forward onto the wheels. That does surely mean that Yogg claims this remaining safe spot. Reminder that Drops isn't too far behind. If Yogg can just make it through. No! Drops sniped over to the left. Nailed the riskier version of the finish rather than going the long way around. Just hit the angle. Hit the accelerator to the finish line and manages to snipe out 27th place. 6/10 in front of Yogg as a result and through safely. Existence, Yogg, Pash, and it was Shadok Alex, the fourth player who's eliminated and has already left the server. Maybe not quite as strong as the previous round where we saw a second and a fourth from the danger zone, but we do see Yannick's up in fourth place in this danger zone. So once again, these danger zones are already getting a little bit spicy, getting a little bit tough. And they'll continue so. Scandir is making a second appearance in the danger zone. We rarely get graced with his presence this often, this early, but it'll happen again. Also in this danger zone, Zenlane, PreCup, who is running the Galaxy Cup at the moment as well. Another RPG competition that people should definitely check out. Some interesting twists going on with that one as well. I don't think I have the time to explain them all, but I believe the basic gist of it is that everyone will have practiced one of the map pack. You get to pick which of the maps that you do practice without knowing much more beyond the planetary body that it is named after. But then everyone will have to play on all the tracks during the competition. Definitely an interesting concept. And again, if you're interested, check out the Galaxy Cup channel in the RPG and Trial Discord server. Nightbot has you covered with a link in chat. And follow any links there to other Discord servers that you may need to be a part of as a result. With that said, PreCup is not having the best of times in this round. As interesting as the competition that he's currently organising is, you may not get much more of a chance. So that is clean through that section. We've seen plenty of people struggle with that. In fact, we see Nikolic just in front, and it's Jiceman and Mana who have dropped behind instead. Jiceman will be chasing as Mana has just DNF'd. Can Jiceman get a decent finish? Doesn't quite look like it. That's going to be a respawn, and that is done for Jiceman, done for Kogasound, and done for Zenlane. As Scandir drove a PB in that round to win the round and to make it, well, impossible for anyone to do better than him in the danger zone. Although with that said, interestingly, a Scandir PB for once in Mini RPG of the Week that is not also immediately a world record. In fact, Scandir's PB only good for 4th best on the overall times at the moment. Telne still sitting at the top, having improved to a 101.2 when our backs were turned. And Ice with a 101.7, the only other player within a 10th of the AT still at the moment. Dazzle then 2,000ths in front of Scandir's best time. Lucis is close to it as well, as is Shinex. There's some drama up the top, especially given that we've just complimented Lucis and saying, you know, within 3/10 of Scandir's best. Well, Scandir was in the danger zone last time around. This time Lucis joins us in the danger zone, fighting for his life. Gonna stay spicy here, as the entire evening has been so far. Recognizable names here for players who join us plenty in Mini RPG of the Week. Sapphire, Lucis, Nuclear, Uso, Bayron, Flo, LPN, Sebi. I think I've definitely seen a couple of times around. And Halacia, well, haven't seen a huge amount of in the past, but has had some decent showings so far tonight. We'll need to make up a bit of ground here. Has already overtaken Sapphire, decent bounce, and that'll be good speed through here then as well. might continue to gain. This is really quick from Halacia, making a charge up the field, nearly in safety. Just needs to overtake maybe LPN Sebi, who's only just in front there. Uso, though, is moving slow to the side and will have dropped from 9th all the way into the danger zone now. Well, he's already in the danger zone, into elimination danger, I should say, as Halacia has continued this charge. May not have been the fastest player on track, but has made very few errors since an early one. Climbing up now into 11th place, and so we're going to drop down the field where Nuclear is trying to make the charge on Flow for this remaining safe spot. Unless there's a mistake up in front, Nuclear makes a mistake. Flow will be safely through the line, and so Nuclear will DNF, gone home. Uso, the mistake, too much to come back from. Sapphire and Luces also eliminated, and so the fifth fastest player on the server in the form of Luces will be eliminated now. As meanwhile, winning time in that round of 101.249. Alright, fair enough. Look, I said that Scandir's PB was not the fastest on the server, and I guess he took that personally. I would say, I'm sorry, Scandir, I'm not familiar with your game, but no, I am. I am well familiar with your game. As we get the Mark Inspect in chat. We love it. Much appreciated. Unfortunately, Mark no longer in it. I hope he's still watching. I hope he's enjoying watching still, or maybe he has better things to do, other ways to entertain his audience tonight. And if that's so, then also wish him the best of luck in that. Definitely fun having Mark in the server. As we are now back to another danger zone. Nicolig, can we see how many danger zones they have now participated in? 4. I've been seeing their name pop up a few times. Same with PokeU. Minipoos also not escaped it. Honestly, most of these players have been in a couple of danger zones at this point. This is an experienced crowd joining us in the elimination match in this round. Oof, that's not what you want to see from Okura, who has started to drop a ways down the order as a result. SF Inco, player from Spain, with a very nice gradient on the club tag. Was in front of Minipoos, is no longer, will just about have the speed to make it up, but has been overtaken by 2 more players who are also in the danger zone. And so it's Tommy versus Minipoos. Tommy starts that 180 very late, but maintains a bit of speed. Can't hold the angle though, and so forced to respawn. Minipoos did make it through and is in safety. Who's the closest player behind? The gap is widening. Minipoos making it through safely has given them time to work with. A miss might be acceptable, and it'll need to be acceptable, as Minipoos needs a second bite at the apple. Goes the long way round. Who's close? Tommy missed, and so Minipoos stays alive. Tommy could have sniped, but could not get the end cleanly the first time of asking. Very, very close indeed. The nice times come out again, and it's because Scandir has broken the 1 minute and 1 second barrier. Over the course of 2 rounds, Scandir has improved his PB by nearly 2 seconds. That's not real. That's not real life. Insanity from Scandir. Hiding his true power level until this very moment. Ooh, a lot of loading players joining us in the danger zone now as we break inside the top 30. Telne, Varus, and Dargan will all be here. Undyre has been a couple of times to the danger zone already. Romu as well has also been a frequent flyer. Minipoos at this point has to be up to 4 or 5, right? Sorry for bringing up the scoreboard, everyone. I just must know. Minipoos, oh, only 3 visits to the danger zone so far. But can they survive another one? I hope so. But it's maybe looking a little bit unlikely at the moment. As things stand, 2 players from loading sit in that danger zone, both of them neck and neck, wheel to wheel, sitting just behind Minipoos as well. And, well, Varus will be looking, I think, for a respawn here. Nope. Chooses to continue on, but that wall hit is going to make life a lot more difficult, because here is the leading edge of safety. Here is Undyre trying to chase down Romu, who is just in front. This is where you need to be. Romu is moving slow. Undyre is through, so Romu needs to be cleaner than Undyre here as well. And it is looking a little bit cleaner, maybe clean enough, as a lot of players respawning there. Bayron is through, Vortex behind, Minipoos looking to chase, but Bayron, oh, he's only just in front. Hang on, Minipoos, that's not good. That's a respawn. Bayron is going to be safe with a clean finish, and the gap ends up being quite large. A lot of mistakes coming through right in those final few tricks, as we lose 2 players from looting, and Minipoos. 3 visits to the danger zone, enough for 1 night. Minipoos calls in an evening, heads on home. Varus and Dargan will both get across the line at least. And Telne finishes in 8th place. maybe didn't comment on how surprising it was to see Telne in this danger zone. Currently the second fastest player in pure pace on the server. Paying us a visit alongside the other orange and red names. Ooh, Yannick's with a visit to the danger zone alongside Goliath, alongside Higibus, Pun Pun, PokeU, Drops and Jozo. This is interesting. I feel for some of the players in this danger zone for sure. As I expect some quick times to come out of some of the players here. I would have expected one of them to be Yannick's, but he is struggling off the start line and will need a flawless round from here on out, you feel, in order to make some of that time back, because the gap to safety sits at about 5 seconds right now for Yannick's. Goliath, equally, looking for a way back in, should be fine, might have to go for a double respawn here, is choosing to continue. Stays alive. Stays safe, but is just bleeding time to the cars in front because Pun Pun needs an overtake. Has gotten an overtake. Drops. Was just behind Pun Pun. Entering that checkpoint. May exit in front of Pun Pun because that was a lot of speed. That is exactly what happens as Pun Pun in fact needed to respawn. So let's jump up to where Drops is looking to nail the finish first time. Higibus is going to be neck and neck with Drops. Finishes just in front and they are the last two safe players through. Yannick's eliminated early on in the night. That looks like, I believe, a 23rd for Yannick's in the end with how things will end up shaking out. Goliath eliminated in 22nd. Pun Pun gone. PokeU gone as well. Whew. Some fast players disappearing. And speaking of fast players, here comes Telne back again. Romu is back for a 4th danger zone visit too. And alongside them, Monch Mwalabole, Aura, haven't seen a huge amount of in this danger zone. Shinex, 8th fastest player in the server, also here. And Undire has been here a few times already, knows the score and knows his way around an elimination battle. Let's see how things go then. Drops, bounces a nose off the inside there. I theorized early on in the evening that maybe touching a nose to the inside there might in some way be faster with reactor shenanigans underwater. Not convinced that's the case, but it doesn't seem to have lost really any pace for Drops here in this round. Drops isn't in the danger zone though, so why are we talking about him? Who cares? Jumping on board instead with Romu, who has overtaken Sebi to make it to safety, but may find himself re-overtaken. At least by Telne, who's gone through. Undire, I believe, also went through there as well. And so it's Undire who leads the charge of players with names in red in their fight to try and get back into the top half of the danger zone. That's awkward. Does Undire have the speed? Decides he doesn't. And so Telne is through, and it's Telne trying to chase down Aura instead, who is just in front. And oh no, Telne's touched. He's flipped. He's going to make it through, but it's Romu who's chasing down instead. Telne to the line is safe. Romu is safe as well. You could see him crawling around the outside of that hole at the finish as well. Had gone for the safer route, jumping straight through and then trying to make it around. Had clipped, had caught wheels. It ended up being okay, even though it allowed Telne to overtake. Whew. Spicy round as we will be saying goodbye to Shinex, to Undire, to Monch Mwalabole, and to Sebi. Some players who've had decent amounts of visits to the danger zone. 4 for Undire. And Romu stays alive on 5 visits. This is his 5th. And 4 for Higibus as well. I believe Marius in the danger zone. Drops and Jozo as well. Jozo has to be getting up there. 3 visits, 3 for Drops, 3 for Bayron. My word. Just a lot of danger left lying around the track tonight. Romu, I think, kind of making himself a little bit of a main character this evening. 5 visits at this point, although, you know, of course, now that I've said that, this will unfortunately be the round that we all have to say goodbye to Romu. That's just how it goes. And, yeah. That's on me. I think one of the clearest, most obvious examples of a caster curse that we've seen in a very long time. As Adito Montour has survived a couple of very dangerous danger zones. One that Yannick's was in, where I have to admit I kind of expected to see this Dutch player drop out. But here they still are. Marius, player from Germany, Currently sitting just in front of Higibus, and both of them seem to have lined up well through this backflip, and so maybe there's an overtake to be had here. Has anyone missed? They haven't. Halacia just in front of Marius. Higibus chasing them both down. It'll come down then to the end. Has anyone made a mistake? Marius might have. Higibus goes wide. He's slow. He sneaks across the line. Got sniped by Bayron, but Marius made it the quickest way through possible, and so Marius, the last player to stay alive. Higibus needed to risk there. Unfortunately, when you've not been practicing the risky end, not been practicing lining your angles up in an elimination round, is not the time to do it. A tough finish for Higibus. A tough goodbye to Romu, who has been my main character at the very least for the evening. 5 elimination zones and no more will be finished. And we are into our danger zones of just 4 players remaining. With 2 to be eliminated, Marius rejoins, and it's Marius, Ice, Odito Monteur, and Aura. I mean, I can't just keep saying tough danger zone from here until the end of this evening. So just take my word for it when I once again say this is a tough danger zone. From now on, let it be implied that every danger zone is a tough one to survive. Marius will look to chase down Odito, who is only just in front, and that's great line from Marius, allowing him to set up very cleanly for this as well. I love how Marius drives that section of the map. I hope that's how he's been driving it every round, because that was beautiful, gaining plenty of places on the way through there. Now sits in 3rd with Ice in 4th, and Odito only just behind them in 5th as well. This is feeling like an elimination round for sure, and you'll feel whoever goes out at this point would feel hard done by. Marius gets a little bit slow on the entry into the ice, and therefore is trying to chase down both Ice and Odito, and he's at a disadvantage with the track running out, and especially falling off the end there to Odito. And Ice will stay on board with, because as long as both of them make it through cleanly, it is goodbye to Aura and Marius. Ice crashes though. Here comes Aura. Ice just in front, and Ice will still stay alive. I think there was one final respawn for Aura at the end of the track there. If not, it was just Ice with the clutch respawn timing. We've talked about that before. If you're not making it, respawn quickly. And we see it there from Ice. He finishes just under a 10th ahead of Aura. If Ice had waited a 10th longer there, Aura is through and Ice is eliminated. You gotta be quick. You gotta be fast. You got to recognize when a respawn is necessary, especially in a track like this. Respawns save lives. In this case, most definitely has saved Ice's life, although back into another danger zone. This time alongside Scandir, alongside Speed Self, and alongside Jozo. Scandir has been joined below the 1 minute and 1 second mark by Artis, but if you had to rate someone who had the consistency to do it when they need to, probably going to back Scandir over Artis in that situation, and that does mean a tough time for the other players in this danger zone, as Scandir is pulling away a pretty big gap, 2 seconds ahead of Ice as things stand. Jozo, another long way down the track, just now entering the water. As let's sit with Ice, because it really comes down to a mistake at this point from Ice as to whether or not Jozo and Speed Self even get the chance to come back. And here is surely the section where it had happened. Looks like a very clean lineup from Ice. That'll be straight through. That'll carry Speed as well. Scandir continues to sit in first place. Ice got a slowdown there. What did he get it from? Will it matter? I don't think so. Still cleanly through the quarter pipe. Needs to nail the end, though. We saw him miss it last time. Doesn't this time. And Ice will stay alive for a second round in a row of the danger zone and secure himself a top 10 finish. Jozo, by finishing 3rd in that round while still eliminated, will finish in 10th place and will make it onto the Liquipedia page for the week. Scandir, while in the danger zone there, it is worth noting, did drive 3/10 faster than his own previous PB. Now 3/10 clear of Artis's best time. And that is the 2nd fastest time on the server. Scandir's nuts. I mean, what else is there to say? There's really nothing else to say other than Scandir is in fact nuts. Hey, Odito's back in a danger zone, a 4th visit of the night. The other 3 players in this round, Telne, Flo, and Halacia, all with 3 visits of their own. This being the 3rd, and Halacia, the player who looks to have had the worst start. I say as I find Flo restarting off of the start line, so that's tough. Halacia, though, not far behind Odito. Is Telne in that leading pack? Yes, he is. So, Halacia looking to chase down Odito. Lineup decent, landing decent? Yes, it is. As Odido will enter the ice. Oh, that was dangerous. That looked dodgy from Halacia, but they have survived. Excuse me. As Halacia just hopes for a mistake at this point from a player in front. Maybe from Telname, maybe from Odido. Lineup, solid, but he might clip a wall. Does manage to correct. As he overcorrected, doesn't look like it still lands. As Halacia is behind. So we'll stay on board with Odido because we need to see if Odido makes it. And especially Telname, whose name we see disappearing off screen in front. Telname missed. Telname has fallen in the gap. And that means Halacia is going to be safe. Oh, Telname will unfortunately find themselves at the mercy of that gap in the road and eliminated at this point. And you can see it, the swearing in chat, the lol as well. Although in French, so it is a bit more of a mort de rire. And it will be, unfortunately, Telname eliminated. Third fastest player in the server, gone. Just like that. 8th place, and you are out, sir. We are down to the 1v1s with only 7 players remaining. It is Artis versus Dazzle on this occasion. Artis, the 2nd fastest player on pure pace on the server. But in a 1v1 against Dazzle, currently sitting a long way behind. 1.2 seconds is the gap. Does Artis have the pace to pull that back? On pace. A clip on the inside wall might not help, but I can see Dazzle moving slowly in front, and so the gap has shrunk despite the fact that Artis looked slow through that section, and it continues to shrink, it looks like, as well. Was that Dazzle? It wasn't. Someone floating in the water, helpless. But it was not the prey that Artis was seeking in this occasion. The gap continues to shrink, down to 5/10. Looking for cleanliness. Hygiene through here. What? Excuse me? Artis. Yeah. 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 Honestly, correct. Correct decision, Artis. Something has happened there. And I can't explain it. If anyone can clip that, if anyone's here who saw that, let me know I'm not going crazy, that did in fact just happen. As Artis, with the reactor on, going backwards, clipped a plastic wall in such a way as to get some form of like Uber bug off it, I guess is the closest thing to call it. Maybe a strange zoop from the reactor being forced into the ground by the wheel hitting wall while the wall didn't slow the car at all because of plastic. Someone smarter than me is going to have to figure that out. Whatever it was, absolutely screwed Artis as with too much speed, hit the wall on the exit from the loop and gets eliminated. Very, very interesting. This is Ice versus Halacia. 2 players we've seen in the danger zone a couple of times each. 4 for Halacia, 3 for Ice. I'm just going to pull the scoreboard back up for a second. We'll get back to this round. But interestingly, Dazzle and SpongeLike. SpongeLike's a player I've not really seen that much from. Currently the 4th fastest player in the server and only 1 visit to the danger zone. Very impressive performance this week. But now, back into this battle as Halacia. It's not a battle anymore. I have robbed us of any of the battle that was happening in this round by pulling up the scoreboard, because as we exit it, Halacia will crash and DNF. So it is then just up to Ice to finish, as he also finds the Zoop. Not as cleanly now as we saw Artis get it in the last round. Is he actively searching for it right now? He might be. I mean, he knows he's safe, but he is going to end up back in the danger zone as a result of all of this testing, and it looks like it will be against Scandir. So I don't know, maybe it was not the time to go testing that Zoop, Ice. The map will be available after this week. You can go and test it then. But ending up in an elimination battle versus Scandir, I don't know if that was worth it. It'll be exciting, at the very least. If only because these 2 players are currently tied in all-time wins. Both of them tied for 3rd place with 9 wins apiece. Whoever wins this head-to-head between Scandir and Ice has the chance to break the deadlock this week and to move into uncontested 3rd place all-time in Mini RPG of the Week wins, and along with it, holding, for the moment, provisionally, the invite to Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate and the merch for the top 3 that goes along with that. This is an important round, and at the moment, it is Scandir with the edge. It looks like Ice's landing might be a little bit better, but Scandir landed earlier, and so starts to pull away. The gap stands at 7/10, and Scandir, I think, is disappearing into the distance now. It's extended. 1.2 seconds, 1.5 seconds. Scandir continues to enter a larger and larger lead as Ice went for a little bit of a ramp trick there. Cuts a small amount off of the gap, but really needs cleanliness through here. Scandir looked very clean in front, though. He is very clean. Maybe the gap shrinks. It does. It's down to 8/10. But if you're Ice, you need a mistake now from Scandir. You need him to miss this finish, and it's Scandir. You're not going to rely on that. You can't rely on that. The gap was down to 5/10. But Scandir will pick up the win in this round and is now in prime position to be uncontested for the first time ever in Scandir's Mini RPG of the Week career. Uncontested top 3 on the all-time leaderboard. He started a lot later on that race than the other current top 3, with his Hazard in first place, Yannick's in second, and tied with Ice for third. But Scandir has been on a tear with 7 wins in Season 4. That's 7 of Scandir's 9 wins coming in Season 4 alone. It would just take one more tonight to move that to 8 wins in Season 4, and along with it, sole control of a 3rd place spot on that all-time leaderboard. Up against him, it is going to be Dazzle, Sponge, Likes, and Odito, who I'm delighted to still see here. Odito has had to survive some stacked danger zones and has done an excellent job of it. Will make at least a podium for his efforts, as it will be Dazzle or Sponge Likes eliminated in this round. At the moment, looking a little bit more like Dazzle, especially with that clip. The speed is low. Will just about make that gap, and so is not completely dead yet, but needs a mistake from Sponge Likes. It'll need to come probably in this loop, as we've seen the ending cleaned up for most of our top players at this point. Scandir having a little bit of a struggle on the exit from that loop in the last couple of rounds, but he's not given control of first place up in either of those rounds just yet. Here we go, the end. Sponge Likes misses. No! He survives. He goes around the widest way possible. That was heart in the mouth moment. I don't know if that was deliberate from Sponge Likes. If it was, that was a very, very brave line. But has survived. Scandir will be guaranteed a top 2. Will be guaranteed a shot at managing to pick up that uncontested 3rd place in the all-time leaderboard. But for now, we decide who gets the shot at Scandir in that final round. Will it be Odito? Will it be Sponge Likes? And I have to say, delighted to see 2 players who we do not maybe consider regulars of Mini RPG of the Week sitting on our podium for the evening as well. Odito with 5 visits to the danger zone up until this point. He'd get a 6th if he made the final, but for that he'd need to overtake Sponge Likes, who gets an awkward touch on the inside, still makes it into the water, but the lead has swapped hands just like that from nearly a second ahead. Sponge Likes is now nearly a second behind, and will need to drive like a madman in order to regain that gap. Odito goes low down onto this turn and is straightening the car out well. Looks like Sponge Likes a little bit slower through this section. That may not be the worst thing in the world, but the landing is awkward. On the back wheels is losing a lot of speed. And so let's jump forward to Odito and see how he does on the finish line. It looks good enough. Sponge Likes with a touch will be a long way back. And our finals for week 20 of season 4 of Mini RPG of the Week is Odito versus Scandir. A 6th visit to the danger zone. Well, it's not even the danger zone, it's just the finals. But Odito survived 5 times, and uncharacteristically for Scandir, 4 danger zone visits up until this finals as well this week. With all of that said, with how many times Scandir has visited the danger zone this week, the smart money still has to be on Scandir picking up a 10th all-time win in this match. But who cares about the smart money, because Odito was quicker off the start line there. Scandir's line just cleaner through the middle section of the track though, and he has opened up an instant gap to Odito. It was 7/10 through that last checkpoint. It's extended to a minute. He finds speed everywhere he goes, does Scandir, and he continues to just pull this gap out. You have to start to question, what kind of pace are we on right now? Current world record that Scandir does in fact hold is a 1 minute 0.6, and we're going to stay on board with Scandir because as things stand, the gap is insurmountable without a mistake from Scandir. He threw that final jump. One final turn will be clean. The final time is a 101.489. It is not earth-breaking, but it is good enough. Scandir is uncontested as a top 3 player of all time in Mini RPG of the Week. Whew. Congratulations, absolutely in order though, for Odito, who put up some monstrous fights. 5 visits to the danger zone to make that top 2. I love it. Very, very impressive. I mean, just all around a great week. A map that I really enjoyed. We got exactly what we expected from an OSTRALEX map, which is really interesting things going on with reactors. Rather than them just being used for jumps, rather than them just being a zoop mechanism that make things a little bit difficult for the players who don't understand them. You gotta get funky with it, and that is most definitely what happened in that map. So thank you once again to OSTRALEX. Congratulations once again to Scandir, who now has just 5 weeks remaining in which he must defend this top 3 spot against Ice, who sits 1 win behind him now. And you gotta be a little bit nervous if you're Yannick's or Hazard. Yannick's only has 11 wins all time. Scandir could take 2nd place from Yannick's before we're done here. Hazard sits on 13, so a little bit of a buffer there. But Scandir most definitely closing in and could potentially be the most winning player of all time heading into Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate. If you want to find more out about Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate, please do head on over to the Discord, which Nightbot may post at some point. If not, just type !Discord in chat. There you go. That's how it's done. I've typed it in all caps. Doesn't matter. I'm going to wrap things up here because I'm going to bed. Thank you very much, everyone who joined us tonight, and we will see you all back next week for edition 21 of Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll see you soon.